very much for it that if there's an engagement ring, it should be for later. Give it to him in the give it to her in the yichud room. Another inyan is also interesting. I mean, this is how much the Rebbe backed it up. That today already it's mentioned in Svarim, in Nisuim, Kol Chasam brings the Rebbe's opinion, but halachically, and it's not a simple inyan. There were halachas, there were there were complicated situations. Actually, even in our time, the poskim in our time deal with a story that happened that a person gave a ring to his girlfriend, and it later became very complicated. Is this considered a kedushin? And the Rabbanim, the rabbis that are dealing with it, the Rabbanim, and the same thing also took place in the time of the Tzemach Tzedek, that it was a very light-headed, very low-class person. He just gave her a ring, intending this is kedushin, when there was no plan for that in advance. So there's different ways how the Rabbanim approach it to nullify it. That it's really that in the first place it's not even considered a kedushin. One way is that there were no two designated witnesses there to actually testify, because they need to testify. And there were other things. I mean, it's a real situation. I mean, in different generations, we had this kind of stuff happening. And even in today's generation, 40 years ago, there was a certain story that took place, and the Rabbanim needed to get out of it, unless the person would need a get. Divorce.
The whole Olam, is giving now, except Lubavitch. They give.
All right. So it comes in a sense. It's a inyan which is a shayla and halacha. And if the Rebbe brings it up, it's a inyan halacha. If the Rabbanim don't address it, that's their problem. But the Metzias is, if the Rebbe mentions it, it is something which needs to be looked into. And there are many different svarim that are written about chasana. One of them is Nisuim Kol Chasam, which is a very famous compiler, put together 2 volumes on chasanas, and he brings the Rebbe's opinion. Nite Gavriel, another one who compiles it. It's there. It's just that the person decides, does he want to follow or doesn't want to follow. But it's halacha. It's not that he's following what the Rebbe said or what the Rebbe, not following what the Rebbe said. He said the Rebbe was once in Mio Yehudi, when it came up, who is a Jew, the law of return, the Rebbe said the so-called law. They came up with a question. So the Rebbe says, they said, why did they have to listen to someone in Brooklyn? The Rebbe says it doesn't come from someone in Brooklyn. It came from Mount Sinai. And that's where it all started. And that's before the Rambam was born, before the Alter Rebbe was born. It started all over there. You just have to get your act together where it came from. The same thing is also this. This is Pasha the Shaila. To the extent that the Rebbe once gave $1 to a chassan, and he gave another $1 for the kala, and the chassan said, it's for after the wedding, right? The Rebbe says, sure, when then? So it's like, anything a person gives should be for someone else or whatever, however it's arranged. And the ring, the engagement ring is usually given in the yichud room. That's when a person gives it to the kala.
What's the ring? What about something other tachshut?
Actually, the Rebbe even spoke about $1. It would seem that a lot of different things should go. I think all these things can assign shayla.
When engagement, it's not really the chassan is giving, it's the parents and the chassan.
When the ring.
No, not the ring. The ring, the chassan.
You mean the matanas?
Well, yeah, when you get engaged, right? So she has rings. The shvikas are one of the get.
Right. Okay. So that's something which is not directly from the chassan.
Right. There's nothing to do with the chassan.
Okay.
The Rebbe still had with the $1, and no, he was giving it.
Yeah.
He told the chassan that this would be a kal.
The chassan gives the kala. That's the issue.
Yeah.
But the story is, so if unattached could be a ring also if the parents give it.
If the parents give it indirectly, but here the Rebbe was concerned about directly because this couldn't create a problem. Yeah, that's basically what it is.
If it's indirectly, you shouldn't do it.
That's a meaning of a ring shows on the union of marriage b'chlal. So that's why the Rebbe was very careful that they're cautious, and I figure it could be even. The Rebbe felt that it shouldn't be before the marriage. And first there was the Eiris and the Kiddushin, and then it was the marriage itself. That this is the marriage is already the Isachdus, how they become connected. And they become one flesh. It's interesting to note, I think I once mentioned it, that this is also the basis on what the minig is, that when it comes to Shabbos Suda, that we eat. The Rebbe Rashab once told someone, we eat first the kugel and then the meat. He says, why? Because the kugel is the union of ki-igel. In Polish, the word kigel means ki-igel. Ki-igel means a circle. It's like a ring, the ring. Then comes v'hoyo l'basar echad is the meat. This, that's how the Rebbe Rashab said it. Somebody said it sounds like a Polish word. Mitzvah says the Rebbe Rashab, Rav Zalman Gerari once gave over the Rebbe Rashab said about the table.
Also, kugel has to do with kugel is stands for Shabbos Kol Chassan. Somehow.
That's how we eat b'chlal kugel.
Yeah.
B'chlal it says in Svarim that the reason all these macholim, when ich glaub that even if it wouldn't be gematri, they would eat it anyway. But the reason all the macholim is because the misper cotton, the numerical value in small units is 7. Basar, he adds up to 7. Beis and Shin and Reish, 2 and 3 is 5 and 2 is 7 in one unit, in single units. Dog is Dalet Gimel is weiter 7. Merek is weiter 7.
What's that?
Merek is soup.
All right.
Merak, it's the union of Mem Reish is 6 and Kuf is 7. And that's how he goes through all the different macholim. Polish, it's mentioned in a sefer called Pnei Shabbos, not Pnei Shabbos, it's Minig Yisrael Teirei. So he brings all the Mekeres, so he brings on Shabbos a whole list of macholim that... The same way that the union, the connection between the husband and wife is one, in the same way we connect with Hashem through the union of Torah. More yet than through the union of mitzvahs. Now the Rebbe starts elaborating on this Maimer, topic of this Maimer. That this is also what we say, Kachenu, you should sanctify us with your mitzvahs, and you should give us a share in your Torah. This is a difference between mitzvahs and Torah. Through the union of mitzvahs, the sachdus of Yidden and Hashem is through commandments. A person connects to Hashem, the Jewish nation connects to Hashem in a way of marriage. But it is the early stage of the wedding, which is the engagement, the earlier stage, the preliminary part of the wedding. And through the union of Torah becomes the Tachlis HaSachdus, the closest connection. As it is mentioned in Tanya Kadisha, the Maila, as it's explained in Tanya, the quality of Torah and mitzvahs, that through Torah a person connects to Hashem in a way that there's nothing compared to that. That there is no such union, connection between a Yid and Hashem. That by Torah we say our share. The Pirush Lashon Chelik Hainu Hamshocha Pnimi is dafke. Chelik means Hamshocha Pnimi is something that comes down in him. Shenasa Chelik Shalom, it becomes part of us. The Zelwin Chelki Avai Omro Nafshi, as it says in Eicha, Sha'ateiro Chelki Mamish. Teira is a chelik of a person. In other words, it becomes part of the person himself. Pnimis. That the union of Teira is the union of chelik, but through connecting with Teira, you are connecting with Hashem. You're connecting with everything. Moving from this, we understand that through Teira becomes the nisuyin, the marriage with Hashem. V'hoyu lebasar echad, that they become one flesh. It was explained earlier from the Hasidic discourse of the Rebbe Marash, the fourth Rebbe of Chabad, the sequence who shebetchilo hu inyan hakidushin v'chakach bo inyan hanisuyin. First, there's the inyan of kiddushin, which is the first part, the first stage. Then there is nisuyin, which is, in other words, the wedding or the engagement and the wedding, and then the nisuin, the wedding itself, the life that follows after the wedding.